I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is Project Architect 2. So today I dive into the end game, and now that we have some infrastructure set up, we should be able to start actually producing some of these late game quest items right here. For example, the ones that are under pressure. And there's several of these that we probably want to get started as soon as possible. Now, all of this is fun and well, but I'm going to need space. And today we're also going to be diving into spatial storage from Applied Energistics, giving me a custom dimension to play with. Not just any dimension, no, a complete void dimension. Or at least that's the plan, because I've actually never really set up the spatial storage myself with AE, nor have I ever been to said dimension that I can remember, at least in a world where I use that storage myself. So bear with me as I start to struggle through this. But we do need to make some of these spatial things. So for example, like a spatial storage cell. This is going to require some very basic components, but we should be able to get this up and running. So the spatial component right here, and then we'll put that in a container. So now we have a spatial storage, which has the capacity to hold a 2x2x2 area, and it is currently unformatted. Now, to be able to format it, I think we use a spatial IO port, if I do remember correctly. And all of this stuff I should just get autocrafts for. Now, as far as my understanding goes, we should be able to connect this into our cables, and we should be able to build something out. For example, right here, I can go ahead and set this up like in the middle of the room, right? And we can call this point our center point. And what I need to do is cover a 2x2 area. So it looks like I can do this, right? And this would be a 2 wide area like so. I'll place my port right here. And then I also need 2 up here. So that means, I think inside of this 2x2 area, like blocks and stuff should be able to be transferred out. I guess to be more specific, like blocks that are technically in here, that are within this space, this would be what would be allowed, right? Inside of this 2x2x2? I think so. So what I'm going to do is just give myself a platform here, and I might actually be able to just send myself with this. So I am going to need a little bit of redstone to be able to do this, but I'm going to just build a platform for me to stand on, and then I should be able to place this in here. Now, I got to give this a redstone signal, so let's get a lever, and what I'll do is I will use some wireless stuff to toggle the lever, and I think that will get us into this dimension. So if I link this to this lever, that should toggle it on and off, and we should actually test this out first. Let's get some cables over here, so that way we can hook this up, because we should be able to send this back and forth. So this is hooked up. All the lights are good. Everything looks good. If I give this a redstone signal, this one block should get sent. That is right here, and it's gone. Okay, and it went inside the storage. Now, whenever I move this back, I can flip this again, and I can bring it back. Now, the cool thing is I should be able to bring myself. So I should be able to move this. Actually, yeah, I'll probably end up floating. So we do have access to all of our storage and stuff, but I believe this will send me. If I right click, right? Oh, does it actually need a block? Oh, it does, I think. Ooh, if anything, let's see. Yeah, it says size stored, and it sent it back. Let's try this again. I'm still learning a little bit. Okay, it sent that one block that time. I'm surprised it doesn't send the others. It's only sending that one block. That's interesting. Okay. So that is what that has stored. And has a serial number. Can these be wiped in any way? I don't think so. Right? There shouldn't be anything here for it to technically store. It is pasting. Right? And if I place a block, it takes it and then it comes back. Okay, interesting. I might actually make a larger version of this. Okay, so this time I'm going to try and send myself, I have a 16 by 16 by 16, and I expanded this a little bit. So this should definitely be able to store what is here. And I should be able to toggle this lever, and it should teleport me. Okay, and it did. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. But am I locked into this space? That is the question. It does appear like, okay, so this space that is here, I am limited to, but, and I am sort of locked in space. I was thinking that I would be able to actively move about. It doesn't appear like I have access to doing that. Maybe it's because I do need a very, very large storage, and then I can use all that space that is within that size storage. Okay, so interesting. Going into this dimension actually reset the data on my book here. So yeah, it actually removed my teleportation locations, which is not a good thing. So something to kind of bear in mind, I guess, whenever you are teleporting with this thing. Yeah, for some strange reason, I thought this dimension would just be a void. Now, even though this didn't work as I thought it was going to, I think I have another idea. What if I use this room right here to essentially teleport me to a location that has essentially a massive one of these set up, giving me the ability to build like some autocraft stuff and then make sure that thing is chunk loaded and then store it inside of a container. And then I can build another thing and store that, and I can load those on demand. Now, I think I have a plan on the location. So I have a mine location, right? And this is actually quite a large area. And I was thinking, if I go ahead and I do the torch master here, and we go ahead and make sure that we have some room. Yes, and I place this down, going ahead and getting rid of mobs in this area. I can build an area for this, and there's plenty of space here, and it's already hollowed out for the most part and underground, which is perfect. Now hear me out. We can store a 16 by 16 area, but I can actually define this as a 15 by 15 area within that 16, and also keep the outer edges concealed, which are going to contain the spatial pylons. So this kind of gives us like portable, or I guess exchangeable 15 by 15 by 15 areas. So we can place all of our modded stuff in here, let them go, and then have like a chunk loader on them in some way, and we can ship them off to continue working while we load in a new area and we start working on it. Now I've kind of got my cube defined here. So we have a 15 by 15 within a 16 by 16, which is perfect. And I also copied my tunnel, so that way we can actually set up a portal that allows me to teleport to this location. So I should be able to simply right click this, and all of the items from my applied energy system should get teleported here. Beautiful. It does look like I'm missing some terracotta and stuff, which is fine. I'll be able to get more of that. And then I've of course got to place the floor in. Now I'm currently working on setting up the spatial pylons. Now, something that I need to keep a note of. This is only going to consume the interior area, and it also does not consume the block that is on the outside here. So that's kind of something that I found out by looking at the guide here for this. So if you go underneath this and Spatial IO, you can see this goes one high, and then this also goes one out, but it only contains the blocks that are from within. Now, the more of these pylons that you add according to this, as you can see here, the more of them you add around it, and this is kind of a bad example that's shown here. This one's a little bit better, but the more of these you add, the more efficient it is going to be, and it's not going to cost as much power to transfer the things back and forth. But in my case, so we don't have to add all of these, I just keep it like this because we already have creative power on our network. So we don't really have to worry about that. But keep in mind, the power costs can get quite significant if you're doing this. So if you don't have creative power, make sure that you are adding like extra lines that are connected here. The more of these that you have wrapped around this large object here that we're going to be building, the more, of course, or the less power it's going to cost overall. Now on this hallway, I'm going to have a barrel over here. This is going to just store our little pocket dimensions. I will rename dimensions, or I will rename our areas with like an anvil, but that should define what those are. And then in here, I can use this to load them. So I do need to get this hooked up. And so down here, I have my wireless connector. And so I should be able to grab some cables Let's grab some orange cables here. And what I want to do is connect this up. So that is going to look like this. Just getting that connected to the side. Now, as far as the connections down here go, I'm actually going to bring this 2 down, because what I eventually want is I want this to kind of be covered when there is nothing here. I want this to be like a giant black box. And so I will be surrounding all of this with some black anti-blocks, which is going to make this look really cool, especially when there's like nothing here whenever we remove that. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in mind. And so what I need to do is extend this cable all the way over here onto this. And then I should be able to apply a cable here. And that should hopefully boot up. It says network booting. There we go. They are the appropriate color and perfect. Now on this, you can see the efficiency right here is 15.69%, which would cost a total of 1.24 billion power to store this. But you know, on our network, we have plenty of power, so this shouldn't be an issue. But I will do a test just to make sure. So let's go ahead and test this. Now, before I fully test this, I do want to copy this building, this entire setup, with the copy paste gadget. That way I can, for one, make more of these in the future, but we can also store this and I can share this with you guys as well, if this is something you're interested in. So on the building gadget, let's go ahead, or sorry, not building. I need the copy paste gadget. All I need to do is set this to copy mode. And then I just have to remove anchor, make sure we clear our settings. And then I'll select this point right here. And I will select this point over here by shift right clicking. Now this entire building is selected, and that should be correct. So now we can make sure we're in paste mode, and we can kind of get a preview, making sure everything is good. And then what I want to do is pop into my template manager. Let's grab some paper, and we will request a couple of those. And then what I'll need to do is place this in with our gadget. I'll place that in, place the paper down here, and then we'll call this, let's call this factory room. Factory room, and then we'll hit save. And by doing this, you can now see the contents of said factory room and have an actual preview of it, which is super cool looking, by the way. And this will allow us to load this back into our copy paste gadget, and is a great way to save this. And of course, I can also share this with you guys as well. So be sure to check out the pinned comment in the general chat. I will have this, this whole thing setting over there for you guys. So check the general chat and check the pins. It'll be listed there. So now with that all saved, I should be able to now teleport in here and essentially copy this entire room. Now I do have night vision on. This is actually what it looks like without night vision. It is pretty dark, but in the future we'll be able to turn this a bit brighter. But let's go ahead and get this all done. So I'm going to store all of my gadgets and gizmos here. And let's go ahead and make this. So Applied Energistics Spatial. And we are going to need a fresh storage cell. I'm actually going to take these and probably delete them because we don't need them. So I can click the trash can. I can just get rid of those. And we should have a fresh one. Beautiful. Now when I place this in here, it should gather some information, right? I think capacity 16 by 16 by 16, and the spatial size is 16 by 16 by 16. So when I push this button, it should store this whole thing and it should disappear. Oh my goodness. And disappear it did. Okay, so now we have our entire factory room essentially stored, which is beautiful. And so what I can do now is place it back in, and I can bring it back anytime I want. Oh, this is so good. Now what I need to do is I need to get that box, like I said, and make it a completely black room by using anti-blocks. So now after covering the whole outer area in black anti-blocks, let's take a look at this. This is going to be beautiful. Bam. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that looks like a complete void. And this is where our actual teleportation portal is going to be. So by putting that back, oh, I can send these back and forth, and I can create new ones as well. So I can keep like the same design and change the color schemes of things if I want to, just by using that copy paste tool. And for example, I'm going to go ahead and fill this. I believe I can store this, and then I can take this with an anvil, and I should be able to rename this to factory room. Like that. Pull that out, and now this is going to retain that information, and I can load it back and forth, and you can see it's going to hold that information. And because we have creative, we are a creative power. We have like it doesn't take any time at all, and it doesn't have a power buffer to refill. It's just going to work, and that's one of the benefits of actually crafting up the creative power that is a part of applied energistics, making this thing right here. Now this is cool and all, but I still need a way to get from our base location down in the lab to this section of our lab, which is technically hidden underground, which is just right over here because our lab is technically right here. Now to do this, I want to try out this mod here. So let me go ahead and remove this outer section right here. And what I want to do is I want to place in these portal frames. Now these are from the wormhole mod, and I should be able to build out a custom portal frame that is all kinds of different shapes, by the way. That's kind of the cool part about these frames, is you can build them in different shapes. And they can even be, for example, like a 2x2, right? You can have a portal that is like this, and where you can just walk right through. And you can also make them in kind of wonky shapes. So like if I wanted this corner to be right here, I could, and the portal would still work. And these portals allow you to change the color and customize the color of the portals. Now to get these portals to work, we should be able to place a portal stabilizer essentially inside of the portal frame. And then we need to use our target destination device. So let me head back to the base. Let's go back to our lab. And then I'm going to go down the hallway, which is over here. And I'm going to set this right where I would have this place, right? I want to set my output location right in front of the portal. So how about I go one block in front, and then I'm going to shift right click, and I should be able to add my current location. Or is it right click? Let's see, target device, target name, add to this particular area. All I have to do is add the name. So I'm adding lab into here, and then I hit add, and now the lab is selected inside of our target definition device. So now back in our spatial storage area, what I'm going to do is click this then. The wormhole is stabilized. And do I need anything else for this to work? We just need to click activate. Now it says right here, target, and it says that requires 14,000 RF per tick. So I don't know if I can put a gate like directly on this. Can I? If not, there are other blocks. Oh, yes, you can. So that can be powered directly. And it says teleport energy cost, activate, right? Everything else should be good. It does say no target. I thought I clicked the target on here. Lab. Shift right click. I'm still figuring this out. Okay, interesting. I right clicked on here and I selected lab and hit add and added it over here. So now I can access and change target, and I can select that. And now I can hit activate. Oh goodness. Beautiful. So now we have a portal. Oh, that is perfect. And I think, by the way, you can change this. So like, if we want like green, we can use like green dye, and we can right click on the portal to change the color to whatever color we want our portal to be. Okay, for right now, I still haven't walked through the portal, but I am going to go ahead and place in some of these anti-blocks on the back to make this portal look a little bit cooler on the other side. I should be able to teleport through. There we go. That is a very interesting looking portal. And when I teleport in here, it should teleport me exactly where I set that position. Oh, beautiful. Now to do the same thing for this side. So now I should be able to do the same thing for the other side, set my AE2 store here, and then hit activate, and there we go. Now, I did go ahead and make the portals a little bit different in shape. I did make them a little bit smaller because I thought it looked a little bit better looking down the hallway and seeing this instead. But I definitely want to try out changing it to orange. Oh, that looks so cool. All right, and when I go through here, this teleports me to the other side, and we can make that orange as well. Oh, that looks so good. We can just jump through the portal back and forth. Now, there is something that I definitely want to test out. And that is, I want to place this, for example, in here, and I want to store this room with myself in it. Now, I need to make sure I have myself a warp stone here so I can get out, but I should be able to click this button, and it should store me and this area. Actually, you know what? I do want to chunk load this section right here. I don't know if this necessarily needs to be chunk loaded, but I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to store myself. And I should be able to get out with the warp stone. Just like this. Beautiful. So we are now in the pocket dimension. But notice I can't like go outside of this area as we experienced earlier with that really small setup that nearly suffocated us. So I still can work in here, and we should be located perfectly within a chunk. And I should be able to chunk load this one section here. And I should be able to come out of this area, right? So we can have this set up and chunk loaded. So that way we can have this like little area sent and not actually in our world, but still functioning in this dimension. And then we can load it back into our own world, and we can edit it, and we can send it back here. That's of course the goal. And so to be able to check this, let's head back and let's go ahead and put this back here. And what I want to do is I want to send it back just like this. And then I want to try this again. And when I go back there, I just want to make sure that that one chunk that it goes back to is the chunk loaded chunk that this is defined to. I'm almost positive that's how it works, but I just want to verify and make sure. So let's do this again. And yes, the chunk that it falls back into is the chunk that is loaded. It's not like it's moving to a random location every time. Now, something I am curious about is this should be able to essentially move anything that has data associated to it. So like a pipe, like even if we move this and we have like a barrel that is filling up with these items, right? For example, we're going to have a certain item transferring over. It still should continue and hold the fact that I set a value here. So let's grab a wrench out of here. And I just want to use this just for testing purposes, because I've never used spatial storage. So this is still me learning. I'm hoping that my ideas all come together, but I'm going to have this extracting, and it's going to be sending source gems into the barrel. So we see that that is going in there, and let's say 6, 10, 12. And what I should be able to see is if I send this off, that should still be building up. Let's just say if I let it run for a little bit here, we should have close to a stack by the time this is done. Just to make sure that everything is flowing and it is working. And when it comes back, we want to make sure that it's still assigned to this item, because I've never done this with like ProjectE or anything. So that should be a good amount of time. We'll send it back, and we can see we do have a stack in there, and all of the data is still just the way it was before we sent it. So now with that out of the way, let's start with our first major automation. And that is going to be, I think, ores underneath the metallic radiation section. Now, of course, we are going to need netherite. That is a whole other problem that we're going to have to solve in another way. This is going to require a much more extensive setup, and also probably a duplicate of our gold processing. But this will all be handled in its own thing. So don't worry about netherite. That's fine for right now. We do have a netherite dimension, a netherite block dimension specifically, which could work. And we could have that set up, but I think it would just be mining very, very slow. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to kind of come back to. But we do need 10 setups for all of these individual ingot components. So how is this going to be possible? Well, each one of these 9x compress is about like 3 billion of these ingots. And there's a way that we can do this that I think will be pretty quick. And of course, by the time we're finished working on other things, these will hopefully be compressing. And we're also going to need quite a significant amount of them as well over here for these alloy tasks. So just something to keep in mind, like for example, this Invar over here, this is also going to require iron for all of these Invar components. So very, very expensive whenever you do break it down and think about it. For example, this is going to require an alloy process here. Of course, this can be done via crafting, but you can see right here, it costs 2 iron. So that's going to need like 2 billion to be able to make this. So, well, maybe not, because it does make 3 per operation, but still it is going to require a ton of iron for this process. So with that in mind, I just need to start processing these ores and doing it very quick. And this is where the rainbow generators are going to come into play. And so I have 40 of them right here. And what we're going to do is we are just going to simply process the raw material. We're going to take raw and we're going to turn it directly into its ingot form. Now, on top of that, what we're going to be sending this to that's going to make this all work are these spruce barrels from Sophisticated Storage with an advanced compacting upgrade in each. So with the advanced compacting upgrade, this will start compacting down the ingots into iron blocks, into the next tier compressed all the way up until it goes to 9 times. So we don't even have to worry about putting like speed upgrades. The basic barrel should work in here for all of these ingots. This has got to be one of the most powerful combos of items ever devised. It's just, I mean, the compacting upgrade is so powerful for a storage mod. It is just so good. They may be wondering, Chosen, there's only 9 slots here and you said you needed 10. We will come back to this. I'm actually going to have this up in the sky here, probably directly in the middle. I just got to kind of figure out how tall this is actually going to be once we have this all up and running. But for right now, I think it's the next tier. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So I'm going to need some placement blocks just so I can place my rainbow generators. I'm going to have to configure all of these, and I'm going to be doing 4 generators per ore for right now. So it's going to look like this. It's a little bit colorful, right? And each one of these are going to be fed those items and are also going to receive some upgrades. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there's any way that we can copy settings. So I have to go in here and I have to make sure these 2 buttons are toggled on for both of these. Other than that, I don't think I have to worry too much. We just need to make sure, actually, no, each one of these, we need to make sure the back side is set to an input. So yeah, I've got to go in here for every single one of these I place down and change them. Now for the bottom, I'm going to have some extractions down here. We're going to have to try out some different upgrades. I don't think we're going to have the creative upgrades for the bottom, but we'll kind of play around with this and see kind of what we're going to need. But we probably are for the top, and I'll also play around with that and see if this is going to be quick enough. But for right now, I also need to get all of these rainbow generators upgraded. So I'm going to go ahead and place these in. These are going to be the blasting upgrade. Then we're going to have the factory upgrade. And then we're going to have the speed upgrades. All of these should make these go incredibly fast. And the cool part about rainbow generators is they process a stack of ingots at a time. So yes, these are going to be very quick. And I also got them all powered up, and I'm just powering them with 2 points on the sides, just like this. And that should be more than enough, I think, for getting this up and running. Now, I am going to need to try this out, and I want to try and use ultimate pipe upgrades before we actually try and use the infinity upgrades, which are a creative item essentially. And so I need to use this, and I'm going to start this one right here with iron. So let's grab our raw iron just like this, and we cannot smelt the raw form of it. So you can see right here, but we can't or the compressed, but we can smelt the regular raw. So what I need to do is set this, but let's go ahead and first set our pipe upgrades. So I'm going to place this in, I'm going to put that upgrade in, and then down here, all of these are going to also need some speed upgrades because this, like I said, is going to be a very quick process. And I want to make sure that this can actually handle all of this. That is my only major concern here, is if it is going to be able to do that with the ultimate versions, that is. So a little bit of testing on my end should confirm this. Okay, so with that, I should be able to now set this, and these should be taking off, or at least so I hoped. Actually, nothing is happening. There is an export limit. Oh, that is actually ridiculous. Okay. So, judging by this, it is either this is the limit or this is the limit. And I don't think, I literally think that the limit is the actual pipe upgrades. So, let's now try this with an infinity upgrade. And that is full, that is full, that is full, and that is full. Okay, and this, oh, I see a major issue that happened. I didn't realize these pipes down here were configured. So these actually have nowhere to go, right? I'm gonna have, good, this is why we test. So at least I didn't do all of these in one go. But is this able to support? Yes, so it supports everything except for this one side right here. So I'm gonna have to say, yeah, we're probably going to need for this to fully work and max this out. We're going to have the infinity upgrades. So now with the infinity upgrades in here, you can see this is now fully functioning. And if you look at our barrel, this is really starting to truck along and is now producing tons and tons of iron. We're already at a 5 times compressed, and that was like at a snap of a finger. So I've now got to get this set up for all of the other systems. and get this all running. And then we can just ship it away. So now I've got all of these pipe upgrades fitted with some infinity pipe upgrades. And I want to show you something cool. So if you're working on a big project like this right here, you can actually hit this pin button and it will show you the required items on the right-hand side. So I can actually use this to build a list. So I can go ahead and actually clear JEI by hitting Control O. And what I can do is I can look and I can now see that I need silver, and I can start to build this out in the appropriate order. So we've already got iron done. So I'm going to clear my inventory here. And we need silver next, then tin. And so what I'll do is I'll just start to build this out bit by bit. And I'm able to visualize and see all of that due to pinning that. So you should be able to jump start this by just simply placing in each of the required materials, just like so, into these, and they should all kick off and start working now. So now we'll have osmium, and we'll get these last ones in. Osmium, zinc, copper, and then last but not least, gold, which will go up here. All of these should be firing off, and we should see this ramping up and going incredibly fast. Yeah, that is pretty quick. And so now with all of this done, we can just ship it away. We should be able to at least. So I'm looking at this and I see that there is now like 8 blocks. There's probably going to be 9 here soon. What I can do, I'll just ship it away. And, oh, that's interesting. It can't send the flux points. And I also missed a flux point. Oh, we may have to find another power solution for this then. So I guess instead of using points, I'm going to actually utilize gates, but I wanted to try to avoid using gates. But this is going to be fine. By the way, this is not actually sending anything to this. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and place these just like so. And believe it or not, these are only using about 9,000 FE per tick between 2 of them. So we're using about like 180,000 RF per tick, I think, to actively run all of this. So not too shabby, if I do say so myself. So now things should work a lot better. We have 3 blocks in here. That's building up. That's about to be 4 blocks. There we go. Oh, nope. Yeah, we got 4 times there. So I should be able to pull this in and now ship it off. Beautiful. And now everything is going where it's supposed to. Oh, and everything has left the room. So it's good to know that we can't use points. I mean, we could place the points, like if we went with this dimension, we could place the points there, but whenever we bring it back, of course, the points would not show back up here. But that's just kind of something to kind of keep in mind. That's interesting. So that means we're probably gonna have to come up with a more inventive solution for our power network. You know, I kind of want to go for a ride with this stuff, and I want to set the location onto this dislocator here. So it should allow me to teleport back into this without actually needing to load back in or load this back into the overworld. So yeah, this should continue to run. Just to double check, it is chunk loaded. Everything looks mighty fine, and we should all be contained within a chunk. Oh, that is beautiful. And now just to show that I have this stored away and the factory room is just setting in this barrel. And what I can do is I can simply create a new area. And we can ship this off and store this in another drive, which will save it into another chunk. So pretty darn cool. And I can go ahead and align this just the way I need. So like bringing this forward and setting it like so and bringing it down. Hitting confirm. I think this actually needs to go up 1 more. And just like this, all I have to do is simply right click, because all of these items that I used here have EMC, and I can build out another area just like that, ready to go. And of course I can use an exchanging gadget to change any of these blocks, or I can just leave it like this and we can just go off of each individual name, and we now have like modular storage units. Oh, this is so cool. That can be stored in the dimensions. And there we go. I've stored this one and I've named this one Crafter Madness, which is something that we're going to dive into next episode, because today we are all out of time. And I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. Hopefully you learned something new, especially about applied energistic spatial storage, because I know I did, and I'm absolutely falling in love with this. And I don't know how I could ever go back to not knowing this. Oh, because this is just so nice being able to do this. So of course, if you did enjoy today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. And hopefully you guys will go ahead and share this with your friends, or check me out over on the Discord, or check me out over on Twitch. I do live stream roughly 3 days a week, so you can of course find me there. Click on that follow button over there as well. And with that, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Lightning Chaser. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. And of course, I thank all of you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And with that, as always, yet again, thanks for watching. Bye!